Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Respect Our Decision podcast. This is our raw reaction episode for Florida versus Tennessee. As with me, as always, is Mike
What's going on?
and the hype man, Wes.
What's good? What's good?
And we're just going to come at you again, guys. You know, this is actually should be the rehearsed reaction instead of the raw reaction. We're a little late with this due to some different things going on, personal reasons, and then Mike getting back from Knoxville deep in the trenches. But better late than never, we always say, and we're glad to get this out to y'all. As always, make sure you go ahead and give us a download. We're available on all your major podcasting platforms. Check out our YouTube page. As always, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Get a notification every time we upload some content. And don't forget, if you'd like to support us on Patreon, you can at Respect Our Decision. Shout out to Utah Gator and Brandon Stewart for being patrons with us. And as always, do not forget, guys, go check out our sponsor at camwoodsupplements.com. And remember to use code RESPECT20 to save yourself 20% on your first purchase. Highly recommended. But with all that being said, we're going to jump right into it, man. We got a lot to talk about, and we're going to start it off. Like I mentioned a second ago, our boy Mike was deep in the trenches, deep in enemy territory, with little friends around to help him. So we're gonna just go ahead and kick it to Mike so he can tell us a little bit about his experience out there in the world of orange.
Yeah,
Mike?
it actually started. Yeah, thanks, Hirsch. It actually started out in the world of red. Flew into Atlanta, and shout out to my boy Justin and for the hospitality. But no, so started out there, and then we drove up that morning, Friday morning. Just wanted to take in the quote unquote sights. I use that word loosely, and just walked around campus. Nothing too crazy, and just saw not a quote unquote statue. Saw a bunch of dogs. It was really odd. There's a couple of them all over campus. Walked around game day. Saw some homeless man with a squirrel. But apparently, I found out later on at a dinner, like he's like a thing known around campus. They're like, oh, you saw the squirrel, and I'm like, I thought it was just some like homeless guy, but it's like, no, the squirrel's birthday last week. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not used to seeing squirrels on shoulders, and I don't know. It just seemed like a really lonely guy looking for attention, so that's how I took it. But apparently, that's like their mascot over there. Like that's cool, but campus was, standard campus. I got a couple little hooligans yelling at me. One little girl's like, y'all are brave. I'm just like, that actually ended up happening like 4 times throughout the next couple of days, which I didn't really understand. I'm not a little human, so it was a little odd. Yeah, I mean, it was like, is this just a football game? I didn't really, except for like one person, I didn't say anything to anybody because I didn't want to have issues. But overall, campus, standard campus. It was, looked like it was really older, looked like crap, to be honest. Just a comparative some I've been on, for example, FSU. I've been on UF, obviously, and LSU is nice. I mean, it looked old. It looked like it was just, slightly post-Civil War. I'll give them that. And during the Reconstruction. But, it's definitely terrible place. But no, just kind of laid low on Friday. Saturday, obviously, got game day. Got to power up with 5 hours. Had about 3 of those that day. And it was a decent little tailgate. Nothing too crazy. That's, they're, civil for the most part. Shot the shit for a couple of friends I met through his mutual friend. End up seeing Keith, Kim, like a couple of my buddies there with Justin as well. And overall, for the most part, people were hospitable, so can't complain too much in regards to the crowd there. It was mostly just.
And you got to meet a legend.
Legend? Yeah. So walking back, I was walking into the game because there's no service at all in this like city of Knoxville. There's no cell towers apparently. It's awful. There's no Wi-Fi in the stadium. I found that out the night before. But yeah, there's no service. No tweets are going through. So my apologies on the timing of the Mike in the Trenches thread. Hopefully you guys liked it, but there's no service at all. So I had to go. When I was at the gate, I had to go to had to go to will call, and I saw the man, the myth, the legend. Got his but it's a Tennessee rapper. Nice guy. Got to give him that. Gave us an Respect Our Decision exclusive. We'll put it out on YouTube and our social media platforms today. But it was quite it's quite funny. But no, he was a nice guy. And just went into the game. They have like one of those like 1835 troughs where you use the restroom in. And so I don't, once again, up to date plumbing. I don't know if they have running water though. And it's a crappy stadium. I mean, apparently there's 102,000 people. It was absolutely miserable inside. It looked hideous outside. So it was just truly awful.
Let me ask you a couple questions, Mike.
Go for it.
Yeah. As far as the game day, not the game day, as far as ESPN, but as far as the environment, a lot of our fans who probably listen, probably go to a lot of UF games, and they haven't seen the environment like on the road. And it's a big game for Tennessee. Of course, we know game day was there. Josh Pate was there. Pretty sure some other people one time. It was a big game. UF Tennessee is trying to, before the game, trying to stake a claim and try to get into the top 10, and they're trying to be like competent year 2 for Josh Heupel. Can you speak to like the environment, or how did the fans? How were they during the game? Was it loud?
Oh no, I mean it was. I mean, I've been to Death Valley at night, so I mean, like I know
it's different.
Yeah, I mean, it was loud. Don't get me wrong. It was solid. Yeah, louder than FSU. FSU is nothing. Florida, been at Florida games, so that's obviously loud. So I won't even compare that. But I've been to like I said, I've been to Death Valley at night, and this doesn't
compare. Yeah,
nah, it's not. It's not. I mean, they did a good job. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like quiet.
Do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think it was because in their mind, okay, we have to be Florida's down, like right now?
Yeah, my ticket price is freaking reflected. I'm sorry, it's not your fault. The game. I'm sorry. I'm still pissed about that.
Okay, but like, do you think they were wanting to be excited but scared, especially late? Because I want to ask how the game was teetering. Then late, they probably got scared. Like, man, is this going to be another letdown? Jabbar Gaffney, Franks, Hail Mary. Like, were they like loud and like confident? Yeah, Will Greer to Callaway. Like, were they scared or what?
No, it's a great question. So I mean, you could tell, they were pumped, and but even like in the pregame, they're like, if it's a close game, you guys, we have to blow you guys out. Like, I actually got a video guy, like, we got to blow you guys out. Like, they inherently know we own them. Like, and that's why I picked a close, and if that fumble, whatever, which we'll get into, like, something can go wrong, there will go wrong. Like, they expect it though. Gotcha. So because they've been, a lot of
hurt so many times.
Yeah, correct. So, and it happened later on in that game. But the bottom line is you had it spot on. Like, once again, and as I said, they expect it to occur. So it's kind of like built in, and they were just and what's that first part of that question? Sorry.
As far as them being like, what was it, like a nervous, like maybe they weren't loud because they were like, okay, like you were saying, you kind of already answered.
Yeah. No, they were like I said, they were pretty loud. They definitely had a little hillbilly. I like my cousin Chance. However, mixed in with swag, Garth, horrendous DJ. Like, I'm sorry, the swag, UCF, or awful music. Like, it was. Yeah. Gave me a seizure. So, but they were really quick to done. Like, they were happy. Like, it was like bipolar. Like, like, all right, okay, to get it there now. Florida fans next. Like, they were facing like Utah or Bama. Like, all right, we're gonna be loud next. Like, oh, get it there down. Cool. Next, first down, loud. like that type of game. If it was Florida type of fans, like we're gonna stay out the whole game regardless. Then like if you get a first down, like they're quiet. It goes to once again, like we've already mentally defeated them.
Gotcha.
So they kind of expected it. They're like, oh crap, here we go. And it happened. It's just it was so high to low. And you just see them, 100,000 people because there wasn't too many Florida fans. And I was sitting in the Florida section, but I'm looking, spotted out for like people in blue. It had that checkered out. So they were kind of expecting, something bad to happen. But so they're more of like on that front runner syndrome.
Okay. Hirsch, I'm good. You can ask if you have anything.
No, I just I'm just taking it all in, man. Watching it at home and getting the atmosphere. You could see them kind of nervous. But we kind of let the crowds hang around, and that was one of my keys was to try to take the crowd out of it.
Yeah.
And we don't have anything but ourselves to blame for that.
Correct.
Key moments of letting them get momentum back is all it takes.
And a couple things I did notice, given that there are, just trash people over there in Tennessee for the most part, they literally threw objects onto the field. I don't know if the TV camera saw it. They threw 2 objects. I think when Napier went off, they threw 2 different, one item, and then about 2 to 3, 5 seconds later, they threw another item. So shocking, classy folk. But it's a pitiful stadium. It needs to be updated. It's outdated by like 40 years. It's disgusting. The boxes are gray. It's disgusting.
I hate to go back before the game, but that was some pretty shoddy tailgating they had going on too. It was like all concrete.
Like I said, you have no service. There's no Wi-Fi inside. God forbid, But it's just like me walking around. I mean, I went through like a farmer's market. It was a weird setup, man.
The tailgating videos that you put out, it looked like the back of a industrial lot or something. It was.
I got the 5 hours at a Shell station with no gas. And this is on their main strip. Like, I don't know if that's where they cut the pigs for the weekly bacon lot. I don't know, but the place is in reconstruction Civil War.
Wow.
Disgusting. Had to take 3 showers when I got home.
Oh my Lord. Well, I mean, I know it had to be a good, at least it was.
I'm glad I
gave
win.
a good. The boys gave a good show, and they didn't. You didn't have to put up the surrender cobra and get out of there early, just because we look so bad. But
yeah.
With that being said, let's talk about it a little bit here. I mean, emotional reaction of what we witnessed this weekend. You were there live. I mean, just go ahead and give us your takes of watching things live, Mike. We'll let you roll first, and me and Wes will go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It was I was going in like who knows, let's see what's gonna happen. I was going with like the hope that Florida can capitalize on the receivers being out and start early or start strong early, which we did not. But one thing I noticed was Anthony Richardson, and he and Wes and I spoke on it at the end, so I will quickly acknowledge it. I'm like, I want to be wrong, and at least in this game, obviously he needs to grow on it and be consistent. I was wrong, and I'm glad whatever he was dealing with this game, it's either grown, it's either in the past or it's a one-off. But he played well this game. He wasn't. We'll talk about it more in depth, but he played really well. It wasn't a perfect game, but definitely put us in a position to succeed and win this game. So, but it was overall, the O-line let me down tremendously, and we'll get into that more in depth. O-line let me down. Running backs overall, I was a fan of, and then just defensive breakdowns. I was just, So that's just the main. Those are the main ones.
Wes, what were your reactions? I mean, obviously, I know Mike just mentioned some of the obvious ones.
From watching at home, I know first reaction AR. I think he set a record, but not he didn't set the record. Tebow owns the record. I think he finished second behind Tebow with the most yards accounted for Florida Gator history. If I'm not mistaken, you guys can check that for me if you need to make sure I'm right. But I think accounted for as far as passing and rushing, like he was phenomenal. It's the reason why I was harping on the guy with the higher ceiling. We're not playing to win the SEC championship this year. Let's see what we got. It's only week 2. It's only week 3. Let's see him on the road. Let's see him in a different environment. He's nicked up. I mean, Mike has heard stuff. You've heard stuff. We kind of talked about it on the last podcast. Whatever it is, but a lot of fans, as long as they see 15 riches on the back, they will just want you to go perform. Nothing wrong with that. I expect the same. But I mean, he went out there and if he doesn't play, we're not in this game the way our defense played. If he's not there, the way we weren't able to run the ball, if Anthony Richards doesn't play, we won't have a chance. It's a blowout. Mike is chucking the deuces early, getting out of that stadium with those we call them hillbillies. Mike is like, yo, I'm out of here. So so I'm glad that AR took a step forward. He gave us something to be hopeful for the rest of the season. This is a season to progress and see what's going on. So I'm still hoping, and we'll probably Harper and Napier and the coaching staff later about as far as the growth and okay, this is 4 weeks. What are we seeing? Who we need to place? But I was grateful and thankful that AR did kind of make me kind of feel like I was pushing for him to do well, and he did well. Defense with Trey Dean. I mean, I'm not going to talk bad personally about a player. I never would do that. And we had some fans. There was a big blow up over that. Won't get into all that, but Trey Dean blew one coverage on I rewatched the game. Somewhat it was on the other coverage. I'm not sure if that was really his fault, but when you blow one coverage and you've been a topic of conversation all season, and I got on him last week about that me first thing when he's celebrating, talking, and just gave him a first down. I have to get back on him with that. I'm not like he has to be more of a team guy when it comes to certain stuff. And he blew a coverage. I don't know who we have back there. I've been hopping on our linebacker recruiting in the past of how we don't have anybody to be able to step up when Ventura Miller was out. We had a safety since Marcus May, Marcel Harris, and Keanu Neal left. I don't think we had. I mean, that's crazy. Since those 3 guys left, we have had piss poor safety play. I mean, it's ridiculous. And in that same breath, go ahead.
A friendly reminder: Nick Cross wasn't a take,
or Battle, but from Alabama. If y'all don't know who Battle is, but to continue in that same breath with the linebackers, since Jared Davis. Well, I don't want to say since Jared Davis left because I was impressed with Reese. Reese played well when he was here, and Ventura Miller is solid. So, but we have to upgrade at that safety spot. I want to see some more of the young guys. Hopefully, moving forward, that Napier has enough film. We can do that. The going for 2 thing, I wasn't mad at it. I mean, when you look at it in hindsight, then coming down to the coast when the game is closing, then we could have got in field goal range and not try to do a Hail Mary at the end because we missed 2-point conversions and we lost by 5. So if you get the 2 kicks, then you're down by 3. You can kick a field goal. I get that. Not too mad at it. Napier kind of explained that in the press conference. You on the road, you go for the win. Not mad at that. Dexter, a lot of people harping on Dexter. He's still getting double team guys, but I don't want to talk about Dexter. I told Mike last week, y'all can have Dexter. I don't want to talk about Dexter. My guy, Chris McCullough. Mike, I don't know if you rewatched the game yet, but my guy flashed again on film. He was in there with Dexter. This time he was playing the 3 technique nose tap. He was there, Mike, and he flashed again in the backfield. I need to
very
more
well.
Like Mike, I know. Like I said, I don't know if you rewatched the game yet, but you got to see my guy flashed again. He didn't have a lot of snaps, and I needed him to get.
You see my eyes right now.
Yeah, I say I know you haven't watched the game, but I want you to watch my guy because I hopped on him last week and I know you on the nose tackle and the D tackles in general, but watch my guy. He's flashing, man.
Tell the folks who aren't watching this on YouTube what my eyes look like right now.
Your eyes look like you had a red eye.
That's all. That's all. Listen,
literally,
kudos to your
Yeah.
dude. And by the way, there's no
Yeah,
excuse going.
I've been harping on him.
That
So I
girl
wanted to
should
point
not
him
be
out.
able to beat a double team. If that's the case.
Yeah, and
triple team.
Yeah, he should be out there. That was one of my points. Whittemore and Zipper. I'm glad they got Whittemore involved. I talked about him before the season started as my sure hand guy. He had a couple catches. Zipper, first touchdown passing. I mean, that was just a great effort by Zipper. I want the tight ends to get more. I asked, do we even have tight end? It was a sarcastic question. Good by Zipper. And turnovers in the second quarter. I think the key point in the game to me was we were up 14-10, I believe. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 14-10. And they drove 90-something yards and took the lead. Then they got the ball back. That's why coaches defer. When you get that last score and then you get the ball back and score again, that kind of, to me, flipped the game because we were in control of the game. We punted, put them inside the 5-yard line, had them third and whatever, and they got out of that and went down and scored. And then they got the ball back out of halftime, scored again. To me, that was the first big part of the game, in my opinion. The second one was we had some turnovers on them. I'm a big believer in you have to force turnovers. And when we did the key points Wednesday was we can't turn the ball over. I'm looking at you, AR. He had a turnover. And on the play, if he goes around the edge like how he scored the touchdown on that run, he scored a touchdown on. If he does the same thing again, he might score again. If you watch it on film, he might score again. Or if you watch the game, you will see if he go. But he cut it in and fumbled. And all fumbles are not created equal. That's how I feel about turnovers. All turnovers are not created equal. And he turned that ball over. And after that, it was in the fourth quarter. We got a turnover in the first half. They got one in that fourth quarter, and it kind of changed the outcome of the game to me again. So those are my two big points as far as when the game flipped. That second quarter, scored, driving 90 yards, and then the AR turnover. But those are my things from my takeaways from the game, Hirsch.
All right, Mike. I know Mike had one more point he wanted to make before I got my takes in.
Yeah, well, hey, real quick, have you ever been in a film study that following day if you fumble, Wes?
Yeah.
Did coaches say that's okay? Or
I said all turnovers are not created.
A fumble. A fumble's a fumble. They don't care.
No. What I mean about is in the entirety of the game, his fumble mattered more than that first quarter fumble that Tennessee had, the Ventura Middle punch out.
But it would just change. I mean, it's just because but that would change possibly the whole. There's too many. There's too many what ifs. This that leads to that. A fumble's a fumble.
I think you misunderstanding my point. I'm saying we created turnovers, but our turnover mattered more than
He's saying our fumble was bigger.
Yeah, our fumble, the AR fumble was bigger than Ventura Middle's.
He was saying our fumble
in the first
was
half
worse than Tennessee's.
Yeah. That was all on AR.
Okay.
Yeah, that was all on AR.
He's putting more weight on our fumble than
AR, that fumble mattered more. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, my apologies. Like I said, I just wanted to keep this brief on my review. I didn't want to go too far in depth, but just the one thing I kept seeing on AR was like that's when the UF fans were like, we're in it, we're seeing a driver, we're like, all right, let's go. We already know how this is gonna end. Like, let's get it. Fumble. Deflate. So that was
that's to my point. They're not created equal. That was like deflating at that point in the game. Mm-hmm.
Oh, there are bigger turnovers depending on the time of the game, without a doubt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let me try to give a brief little reaction of my own here. First off, y'all have already said it. Hats off to AR. The young man went on the road in probably as hostile environment as he'll probably see this year. Maybe Texas A&M could be bigger, depending. And threw for the most yards against an SEC defense as QB's done in UF history. I mean, that's huge. It's big time. But I'm not going to just talk about AR because obviously the other guys did. Ventrell Miller is as good a Gator as we've had in a long time. That young man, to grit out what he did and then to go out and play the way he played, I don't believe enough things can be said about Ventrell Miller, and he deserves all the praise in the world from our fan base, but I haven't seen anyone say anything less. So, offensively, offensive line definitely did not look as good as I suspected they would. I know Garage in particular had a really rough day. If you look at AR's incompletions, I'd guarantee you half of them are throwaways, just due to the immense pressure he was under most of the game. But he handled it well. He didn't try to force too many throws into, into bad coverage and things of that nature. So that's progress. Running game wasn't what we'd hoped it would be. Kudos to Tennessee for shutting that down. Was very impressed with the play calling as a whole. I thought it was very effective. I thought the plays were there. Even the plays that we didn't get, if you go back and watch breakdowns, they were there. It could have just been some executional problems, or Tennessee just defended it well. I mean, and once again, hats off to them. They came to play on defense. In a lot of settings, us playing better than we had all season obviously made that, neutralized a lot of that. But the other side of the ball, I don't know, man. Tony was not left a very good cupboard of goods. Let's just say that. I mean, bad recruiting plus bad habits equal bad results. And that's what we're seeing right now is the culmination of bad recruiting and bad coached habits to players that are still here, giving us poor results in a lot of situations. That's not an immediate fix, guys. It's going to take a little bit of time to get guys in here, talented players in here, get these young guys some experience. And that's my next point is it's time for a youth movement in some of these positions. I'm not saying you take every snap necessarily from some of these guys, but you got to find a way to get the younger guys in early and often. Like Wes said, McClellan played good. Devin Moore played 40 snaps in this game. Never heard his name called, and that's a good thing. I mean, you don't want a DB having his name called very much unless it's an interception or you get beat deep or a good pass defense. I mean, but I need to see the coaching. What's the word I'm looking for? The coaching adjustment I most need to see at this point is some of these younger guys getting snaps in meaningful possessions to get the experience they need to either take a man's place or be ready to be a starter next year. One of the two. And I've always said it, if you're not the right man, next man up. I mean, and I can't say it enough about this defense, but I'm not going to just continue to harp on it because we know what the problems are. But our safety play has not been up to the standard of the University of Florida whatsoever. I think pretty much everyone can agree on that. Special teams. That's still not up to par with what we would consider the University of Florida either. I mean, okay, the kid missed a 50-yard kick. He needs to make it. I mean, you bring in kickers to the University of Florida, you need to be able to make a 50-yard kick and not be shorting it. But it happens. Could have been a bad contact on the ball, whatever. It happens. Penalties on kickoff returns. How does this continue to happen? How on fair catches are we getting penalties? I mean, why are you holding all the time? Blocking the back on McMillan on the kickoff return with the guy's back clearly turned to him. This is stuff that has just got to get cleaned up, and that's another situation. If you can't execute, somebody else needs to. Get somebody else out there that will. Until you find the right 11 guys that don't hold, every single time. So we're always starting in a bad position. There's a few other things that I could rant and rave about, but I'm not going to because as a whole, I know Josh Pate made the point. We lost as a team, but we grew up as a program, I believe, in this game. And I thoroughly believe that was a very good point, that you saw this team faced with adversity, on the road, first time this year, going, and let's not forget, this is a team that got quit on and then quit itself last year. So it could have been real easy to say, well, here we go again, and laid it on down. But they played it to the very last snap, and credit to Napier and his crew for keeping him in it. And one more thing about Billy, I know it's been said on social media and whatnot, Billy greeted every single player coming off that field, and to me that was a really cool thing to see. I love our coach. I think he's the right man for the job, but we said it from the get-go, man. You're going to have some patience, because there's a lot of stuff still to fix with this team, and it's not a quick fix. But with that being said, guys,
can I ask you a question,
ahead.
Hurst?
Go ahead, Wes.
Just a quick question. This is what I want. Sometimes we get blinded by when we win fast. Like, I know a lot of people, Georgia did this in their first season with Kirby Smart, and Bama did this in the first year with Nick Saban. To counteract that, what did Mullen do his first year? Didn't he go to the New Year's Six Bowl?
Yep.
So it kind of masked some of the deficiency. What did Jim McElwain do? Did he go to the SEC championship game?
Yep.
So they were successful, but in the end, it kind of masked. You kind of got hyped and like, okay, we got something here. When all along there were problems within the program that we didn't see, because next year will be better because we went to the SEC championship game. That's good.
The problem is the recruiting was progressively year after year getting worse.
Exactly, and
people don't look at it like that. They see a number like, oh well, Mullen finished 11th or whatever he finished in the country, but 7-8 of those kids never even stepped on the playing field. I mean, it's all good and well, but you have to go back and look. And now if you look at it, and we've talked about it before in our recruiting episodes, the void is bad. And once again, going back to what we said a few weeks ago when Nick was on the show, you're still trying to fit, like the analogy that was used, the wet puzzle pieces into a puzzle and just make them fit. And all of these kids aren't going to fit. And I got a feeling after this season, and maybe even before the season ends, you're going to see a bunch more kids leave.
Exactly. And that's to you and Mike's point. I want, you guys, like, year one, you got to find out. And y'all want to win too. So I'm not going to say I want to win. We won a championship. You and Mike will be just as happy as I am. But y'all always stuck to the point of, this is the year where he has to figure it out. And y'all had between 6 and 10 wins with the flip, the coin flip games. And I got all that. I'm a diehard. I'm not a pom-pom pusher or whatever they call it. But I just
Sunshine pumper.
Yes, Sunshine pumper. I just felt like AR gave us, if we had AR, the AR that, and maybe I was blinded that what you guys saw, and maybe you guys were blinded, but what I saw in two different ways of, he had year two AR, this experience, him going through this season and maybe not being a Heisman guy this year, going through bumps, losing, playing bad, will set not only him but the program up for year two to be more successful.
It goes back, and I know, Mike, you said this several times. Year one, what do you want to see? What do recruits want to see? Improvement and competent football.
You just have to be competent.
And this game, even in a loss, I'm sorry,
felt
Mike.
better than South.
No. Finish your statement. I'll piggyback off.
This game in a loss showed improvement, and at least on the offensive side for the majority of the game, competent football.
That's correct. I mean, even defensively. I mean, I'd have to look at the season averages.
You've made as well.
Correct. So I mean, you don't have to win, and like if anyone says that, they're flat out wrong, and I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to waste my time because they're wrong. They're ignorant. So the bottom line.
And you just got done playing the hardest schedule in the country for the first 4 games of the season,
which no one ever has brought up. But we don't need to get into that. It's just like, but the main thing is, you're showing more than confidence. You're showing resolve. Anthony Richardson is showing that he is, at least in one game, he can't come back. I think in the long term, like what you were saying, Wes, is going to be beneficial for him. And he needs to take these bumps because last year he didn't really play. He had a couple games, but it's mop up duty. It's different when the lights shining on you. It's different when you're in game playing for. It's different when you have an off season to game plan for somebody, and he's seeing that. So hopefully he can adjust. I'm just hoping he'll truly get through this season uninjured and can slowly progress. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to snaps. And that's what he truly needs. I trust Billy. His play calling has improved. And I truly like that. But in terms of the one thing I wanted to touch on, Hirsch, you said it, and I keep saying it, young players need to play. You're right. However, you have a caveat that they need to be ready to play. You don't just put them in to put them in.
No, you're right. You're right.
So a lot of people
I know where
one
you're
that can stunt either one, stunt development, or two, ruin a kid's confidence that he will never recover from. So a lot of people, just because he's talented, does not mean he's ready. So a lot of just
AKA I know where you're going with this partially is and I know me and you wanted to make a point about this is DeJuan Black made a fantastic play on an onside kick. He absolutely made a fantastic athletic play on an onside kick.
What was the main thing from that? Athletic, right?
Athletic play. Guys, fans, just because a guy makes an athletic play on an onside kick does not mean he knows his playbook good enough to start on the defense or even play for that matter.
Let me say this. Let me say this to back up you guys' point. Have you guys seen Devin Moore play?
Like I said earlier, never heard his name. Didn't even realize he took 40 snaps.
But he took 40 snaps, right? Have you guys seen Shamar James play?
Yes.
It's they're playing young guys. It's a reason why the guys behind Trey Dean aren't playing. Now, I'm just as frustrated. That's why I'm saying we don't have good safeties behind them because it's not that they're afraid to play young guys. Trevor Etienne playing. Shamar James playing. Devin Moore playing. Kamari Wilson playing. So
that's
if those guys are playing, no, he's been coming in for Torrance.
Okay,
when Kamari Wilson comes in, he's been coming in for Torrance. So he's playing that safety spot. So whoever's playing behind Dean has not. I don't know. I can't speak on Patrick Toney's system well enough to know if his safety spots are interchangeable. Some defensive coordinators have with their with their safeties can be interchangeable. Some guys can play in the box and be a single high safety. Some guys can't do it. You want that guy in the box like a la Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor. They can't switch. Cam Chancellor can't do what Earl Thomas did back for the Seattle defense. So I don't know if that's Patrick Toney's system. But my point is the coaches are playing young guys. You guys see that. So that's what I want our fans to understand. They're playing young guys. Whoever's behind Dean, whether it's my guy, because I love him, McMillan, not the Donovan McMillan. Maybe he's not good enough to take Dean off the field right now. I'm guessing that's
Tony
what it
coaches
is.
The safeties.
Exactly.
Tony knows what he's got. I can't argue your point there. Mike said it too. I mean, if you're not ready to play and you don't know your playbook good enough, that don't mean you just stick somebody in there. Yeah. This is where I say you start to work them in advantageous situations.
If they're ready, hypothetically, I wouldn't mind depending on the team as well.
That's why I said this is a 2-week stretch where
correct. So if you have them, we're like, all right.
Let me say a
you also got to prove it in practice because I'm not gonna. 1 second, Wes. I'm not gonna put homie business out there, but his ex-player is goofing off in practice as a freshman. Should ex-player play? No, he should not because you're immature, and that's a bad example. And not to mention, DeJuan Black's not young. All right, hate to break it to people. You know how the class that DeJuan Black came in? It was Kyer Elam. Kyer Elam's in the NFL. So this is 2 coaching staffs. Homie didn't play. All right. So get this. He should be on the field crap out of your freaking minds. He's not going to freaking play.
There's a reason Lorenzo Lingard and DeJuan Black.
Yeah, stop asking why isn't Lorenzo Lingard playing. He's not good enough. It's like Get over
I
it.
also the point I just pulled out about they're not afraid to play young guys because you see young guys on the field. You see Devin Moore, you see Chris McCullum, you see Kamari Wilson, you see Trevor Etienne. Another thing to that, who are all those young guys recruited by?
Exactly.
The
And
guys
another,
yeah,
you're right. You're
He
right.
wiped he essentially wiped the whole class.
And that's what I said. That was going back to what I said about bad habits and bad mindsets and things of that nature. You have to. We said it a few weeks ago. It's like when an NFL coach and new GM come in, they, on average, replace 60% of their roster, and there's a reason for that.
And then, really quick to what you were saying, I'm glad you said that. Speaking of bad culture or whatever, you see Miguel Mitchell's. I think was on Instagram.
Yeah.
I got to talk on that for a second.
I need my players. And I'll let Billy handle it how Billy sees fit to handle it. But if you're running to social media to post your grievances and complain and whine after the game, your mindset ain't right anyway. And I'm sorry. I know there's kids that want to contribute and they're frustrated. I get that. But there's a way to go about it. Show up in practice and play your ass off. Sorry. That's the way it's been for 100 years. Just because you think you're the most talented guy and just because you want to contribute, I'm glad you want to contribute. That you need that kind of fight, but you got to not just want to do it on game day. You got to go to every film meeting, learn your playbook, learn your responsibilities, show it in practice consistently, not just have a good practice and be like, I'm ready to contribute, because it don't work that way.
I'm sorry. He got hacked. So allegedly.
Yeah, hacked. He was hacked and then had control of his account again.
But before, why it's fresh in my mind? And since we're recruiting podcasts, let me ask you guys a follow up to what I just said about the young guys that Napier is playing are his guys. It's not like McMillan, who my guy from the safety is from Mullen's class. Is that a recruiting strategy? That he's playing his guys early? Okay.
No, it's a talent strategy.
Okay.
Yeah, I
just wanted to ask.
I personally don't think so. I also don't think he's that type of coach. Because at the end of the day, you're going to lose. If you do that,
I think it's
year-over-year basis, you will lose the locker room. It's inevitable.
I think it's a void of talent at the positions that they're playing.
Because there's a saying, "Honest guy don't lie." And
you see, we know we're hurting on linebacker depth. We know we don't have a lot of safety depth. We know.
What do you mean? We have Dewan Black.
Oh yeah, who's a linebacker, but now people want him starting at safety.
Because people might think, well, I just wanted to ask because fans might, well, if he's only playing his young guys, maybe he's doing that because of recruiting, whatever. So I just wanted y'all to answer that. But go ahead, you can move on.
But he's also at the same time he's playing Brandon Marshall.
Who?
That's
Or I always mix it up. I'm sorry.
I know who you're talking about.
CB1. I always mix it up.
Jason Marshall.
Jason Marshall. Yeah. Jason
Okay,
Marshall.
gotcha.
My apologies.
Let's
just told you I'm tired.
Yeah, we're gonna get it moving here before Mike passes out on us for the night. Let's just hit the stats for a second, guys, and just kind of look at this how it broke down. Tennessee. You only start with one man and one man only, and one of the oldest guys in college football, Hendon Hooker. Kid played a phenomenal game. I can't slide him for that. When you go 22 for 28 passing for 350 yards, you've had a heck of a day in the college football world.
No picks.
No.
Again.
And then add the 112 rushing yards. And that's something else I forgot to hit on. I said it before, rushing quarterbacks are our freaking kryptonite. And it doesn't seem to matter who's at the University of Florida. I would just like to see us maybe spy once ever and not just completely look unpantsed when a quarterback leaves the pocket. But he took advantage of everything we gave him. If we gave it to him, that young man took it. And he did, whether it be open field for running, whether it be short intermediate passes over the middle. I'm sure every bit of film on us shows that passing in the middle of the field is a recipe for success. And to their credit, he took advantage of it. And that is without one of his best receivers. I mean, so kudos to them. Like I said, I give respect to Tennessee and Josh Heupel. He called a really good football game for the most part.
I'm a
Y'all's
Josh
thoughts
Heupel
on
fan.
well, I'm
my
not.
bad.
I'm not a fan
I
of
know
him
you
as a
got.
head coach, but
I know you and Mike. I
but
know
his
you and Mike don't
offense
like him.
worked.
Yeah, I kind of like Josh Heupel. I think to your point, the only coach that was able to stop a running quarterback is the guy I think coaches Dallas Cowboys right now, Dan Quinn. I think he did it
Yeah.
against Johnny Manziel back when we first played Texas A&M. He got off in the first half, and I always loved Dan Quinn's adjustments in the second half, and he shut Johnny down. But we struggle with running quarterbacks. I mean, we can't contain them. Again, this speaks to the new system and those wet puzzle pieces, I believe. And once we get some more of Tony's guys in, I believe those things have changed. But Hooker had a phenomenal. He's always careful with the football. So kudos to that young man. He played a hell of a game.
Mike, what do you got to say about Tennessee and how they're statistically how they perform?
It took advantage of it took advantage of certain matchups for our defensive backs, particular safeties as well. They attacked some more weaknesses. Abraham was I had higher hopes for him for this season. He's probably one of the more athletic players on the football team. We kind of spoke on the last show, and he's gotten, in my opinion, without watching too much of the tape, like truly in depth, he's just kind of gone progressively worse. I don't know if he's losing confidence or what's really going on with him, but he definitely has more ability than what he's what he's displaying. So that's one thing that's truly let me down. But just with Tennessee, Brew McCoy, he stepped up. I mean,
Absolutely.
let's call a spade a spade. Like I knew, I mean, he's had more homes than Waldo, so but Brew McCoy is just, I mean, you could say single handedly that was the difference in the game. To be honest with you, especially with the wide receiver, being out, and I would say that's the main one. Their O-line held up, for the most part, and it was solid play calling, and we did take advantage of, how you easily beat Tennessee in that system and get them off the field. So kudos, I'll give credit where credit's due. Not to mention they ran a ball. Jabari Small had a decent day, 4.7 yards to carry, 19 carry for 90 yards. So I mean, I don't care if you have the players or not. I mean, you gotta scheme as good as well as possible. But I remember, for example, one play in particular, Brenton Cox right before the half. I want to say missed a sack, and that was it was a huge turning point. And you felt in the stadium, like the collective sigh, at least in the Gator section, are like, oh goodness, this could get bad. But yeah, hats off to Tennessee.
Well, let's turn our attention for a second then and look at some of our stats. I mean, we've already hit on Anthony enough. I don't think we really need to keep harping on AR's day. What's that, Wes?
I want to make a correction. I said he broke the school record. So this is by Zach Avraberti from On 3. I said he was behind Tebow. Richardson did break the school record in SEC play. So that means versus SEC teams that was previously held by Kyle Trask, who had Trask, if we always remember the game for 2020, had 469 yards of total offense against Georgia. And 474 was passing. And the only UF quarterback with more total yards in the game was Emory Jones against Samford. And again, that's Samford. And Tim Tebow had 533 against Cincinnati. So Richardson, yep. So I just wanted to correct that and let you guys know he did. As far as SEC play, he broke the record.
Good stuff. So without going any more into AR, let's hit on a few other things. It was really nice. We had two 100-yard receivers. When's the last time we could say that? I mean, I don't remember it. Great game by Justin Shorter. Justin Shorter continues to be better every week. I think
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Justin Shorter, in his money year, trying to show that he can be that guy. And he keeps having, progression like he's had from week to week. I think we'll see Justin Shorter get his day in the sun with an NFL team. White Boy Rick had some great routes. Wanted to talk about that for a second. A lot of mesh concept that like Mike Leach runs, air raid concept. And boy, guys were getting open. I mean, that everybody talks about the separation. We were getting separation this game, and it shows on the stat sheet. I mean, 68 yards receiving for Xavier Henderson. Much better step in the right direction. Wes mentioned it earlier. Zipper, that touchdown pass that Zipper caught was that was an ESPN highlight for sure. I mean, he daddied his man that tried to come up and tackle him. AR avoided pressure, threw an absolute bullet that hit him right in the chest. I mean, I thought it was going to get picked, and it sailed right through everybody. But now to the other end of that coin, our running game just couldn't get going. And I was very surprised to see Montrell Johnson only have 18 yards on 8 carries. Just a tough road to hoe for the running game. And, if you listen to our breakdown last week, that was kind of the exact opposite of what we thought was going to happen. We thought we were going to run. And I said, if we run 40 times a game, I'm going to feel good about it. Well, we ran 42 times and we still lost. So, but 90 plays on offense is a lot of offense to still not come away with the W, which also speaks to how quick the Tennessee offense was getting on and off the field with us.
Chunk yards.
Yep. What was y'all's Mike? What would be your takeaway? A good, some statistical takeaways that caught your eye?
Like you said, AR side, kudos to him. But no, Shorter is the biggest one. I already knew about White Boy Rick. I think we all had high hopes for him, but Shorter just continued. Like he had a huge. Yeah, you could seriously say we don't win that game versus USF without that quote unquote perfect pass, as Wes alluded to. And sorry, I had to Wes. And but no, in all seriousness, Shorter had a phenomenal game. You could just see he was beaming with confidence. But it just really just O-line. I was wrong. I had them as a worst case top 3 SEC O-line, if not like top 10 in the country. Talents there, NFL talents there, and they're playing like crap. And the holes aren't there. All 3 backs getting right around the same yards per average. So there's no excuses there, and they're just bottom line, it's not getting the job done. This run defense from Tennessee is not that good. Pittsburgh's running back ate them up. So it just goes to, they just didn't pass the test. If we run a ball just a little bit better, we win this ball game. But it's just too many times you're in there, you just see them run into a brick wall, like we're facing 85 Bears or something, So it's disappointing. It truly is, especially when you had, higher hopes. You got a veteran line as well, all upperclassmen on there. So it is what it is. I'd like to get more of a breakdown on it, maybe catch all 22, but it's just, I wish I had the rationale for how they're going. And then on the defense, it was obviously a big loss when, Miller got hurt, and apparently that's cramping because he got booed by the classy Tennessee fans, of course. But, I just need somebody to step up in the back end, and Torrance isn't playing, the best right now. So, but something needs to happen with the safeties. I don't know if it's different players, change up the scheme a little bit, more vocal. I don't know, but something needs to happen. And I think, I don't know if Kimber
only played 11 snaps, so I got a feeling he must be hurt.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Helm needs to see less snaps. This is the bottom line, unfortunately. I hate to say it. You're not getting the job done. This is 4 games in. I think Moore needs to replace him, just straight up. And but yeah, like West's guy, Chris McClellan stepping up. My boy Powell stepping up, number 52. And overall, I saw some young spots on defense I was a fan of, and then I saw the same redundant crap on defense that I unfortunately was far too familiar with. And by the way, Gervin needs to step up. I know he's playing too many snaps, but I hope we haven't ruined him for this season, and I'm starting to fear we did. Because once I saw the 68 snaps from Utah, I'm like, you're not gonna get all SEC production. People go like, oh, he sucks. Like, no, you just killed him, and I think it's already happened. 4 games in.
Wes, any statistical things you wanted to hit on real quick before we move on?
No, you guys kind of touched on everything. Was glad to see Zipper with a few catches, quarterback's best friend. Love what Shorter did. Hopefully he can progress and continue to have a big year. Always loved the Ricky. Whittemore was my guy before the season. Shorthand guy, never misses anything. If it's in his vicinity, he's going to grab it. To you guys' point, the O-line, I mean, I have to go back and watch again to see what happened in the game as far as O-line. This is our raw reaction, so I didn't watch a second time yet. So I will do that to see more what the offensive line did or didn't do. But yeah, that's it. You guys kind of hit on things, so I won't rehash anything you guys said.
All right, I want to do something a little different. Usually right now we talk about what our thoughts are with the play calling and stuff like that. I kind of, I think we all kind of agree offensive play calling was really solid for this game. Defensive play calling was what it was. Execution probably was a little bad. But I want to bring up a real point real quick and get y'all's guys' reaction on it, because I know this was a talking point. What was your take on Billy's outburst, if you will, and good or bad? Mike, I'll let you roll with it first.
From a program side, like big picture, it's good. Okay, because it's gonna get national. It's already hit national. News outlets. Something you could show. It'll be on highlight clips. So on and so forth. But that I'm looking at it. It was right near me. That ref gave him a leash. I think that ref knew they screwed up that one right by him, and then because he took a beat, verbal thrashing, and you got to know, if you're Billy, if you're that confident on it, it's 4th down. So you can easily blame this loss, technically, the result on Billy.
Down. What? I believe it was 3rd down.
It would have been 4th.
Oh, he's saying it would have been 4th.
It would have been 4th down.
Okay.
Like, so as a coach, he was wrong. Like, people, I like him standing up. But end of the day, yes or no, did he cost his team? Yes. Absolutely yes. And what turned out to be we lost by how many points? Who's going to say it?
I can blame that on him too.
As a coach, you have to keep yourself in control. He had a leash where he could have got his off in terms of, really, he was letting the refs have it. That ref, like I said, gave him a leash to go off because they knew they screwed up. But he just kept going and pulled a Bob Knight. So Billy was in the wrong, and you can't do that. You can't cost your team. You got to let your players play. A coach cannot be responsible for losing the game. So he needs to check himself.
Can you guys know what quarter that happened in?
It was actually, and to correct, it was actually a 2nd down.
It was second?
It was going to be 3rd down.
Okay. And what quarter was that, Hurst? What quarter was that, Hurst?
3rd quarter.
Okay. A lot of football left to be played. So I'm not gonna stretch and say he lost the team the game. To me, I would be more mad at the 2-point conversions that we didn't get, as far as saying, hey, we still had a chance to tie the ball at the game. We kicked extra points. and say lost the game. I don't think it lost the game. But I can't dispute anything you're saying about knowing the moment. I don't know if he apologized to the team after to say, hey, that's not how you're supposed to act. Pretty sure Napier, the kind of coach he is, maybe he did that. But I don't want to put that on. I can't dispute anything Mike said. I can't dispute your point in saying that, hey, you got to know the situation and you can't put your team down, even if it would Hurst pull it up correctly and say it was second down, would have been third. Now you give your team two more chances to stop, and not like against Georgia a couple years ago, was Zuniga had that where you got to stop him 8 times, so or 7 times. But he was in the moment. He did it. I'm not too mad at it. It was the third quarter. Still feel like there was a lot of football left. We still might have a chance to win. I would contemplate the 2-point conversions more than that. But hey, that's me.
Well, we got in my section. He had a joke for Billy. Called him Billy Balls. And because that man, I hope that's a one-off because we can't be going have Les Miles, the Mad Hatter, as our
at
coach.
the end of the day, Mike's right. He saw it in the stadium, so he can obviously tell how much more leash Billy was given. We saw it on TV. It kind of just happened on TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't see it. You just all of a sudden you heard Billy got a technical foul, and then they showed.
Oh no, yo, this it was because it was bad. We're talking,
but that whole situation was covered terribly on TV. It was
really?
it was I thought they had already come out and said he was short, and then they were reviewing it again. It was very weird how it all went down. And
so all but one of the refs, I want to say, were huddling about it because it all seemed sketchy. Billy initially went off, and then the refs were like, you could tell, like, all right, we may have screwed up here, guys. And then Billy is just, I guess, whatever that he heard, he didn't like it. And just kept going off and kept going off. I'm like, bro, you're gonna get I was like, he wants a flag here. How he was approaching it, he was expecting a flag. Like, so I'm fully expect, like, I'm gonna it's like a manager in baseball getting ejected. Like, I'm gonna get ejected, but it's not before I braid you.
So firing up on the team.
Like I said, in the moment, it's obviously not good. Now, in
just
retrospect,
downs, like you said.
In retrospect, now that the game's lost, it's over. We're looking back. It was good to see. I mean, we've never seen that side of Billy yet. It was good to see that he does have that in him. Obviously, that's not the spot you want it, but it happened. I know the players will think higher of him because he was fighting, all that's good and well, but like Mike said, it's a 50-50 thing. In the moment, it's wrong. It doesn't help at all. It's not it's not what you want to happen. Going forward, it is what it is. It's done, and it's probably a good thing that it happened. But that's why I wanted to get everyone's opinion on it, because there's always going to be different ways of looking at a situation like that as good and or bad. Now, if you're playing for the national championship or you're playing for the SEC championship and that happened, obviously we'd be having a very different conversation altogether. So,
good point, Hurst. Good point.
And I don't think you would see that happen in such a situation either. I think
hopefully
not. He seems much more. I didn't know he had that in him, so that was very wild for me just to see. Like, you never see Billy.
I'll see about the video, but it was.
We saw him. We saw him.
You didn't see the whole thing. We saw the shortened version, like Mike said. If it went on for much longer than what Mike said, then 10, we didn't see 15, nothing.
20 seconds. Like, it was a while.
So, guys, let's as we wind it down here, silver linings. Let's talk about we always talk about what the silver lining is coming out of a game. Wes, what's your silver lining coming out of this game? I got a feeling I know.
You already know. Fans, you see it on the message boards, you see it on Facebook, you see it everywhere. I hear it on this podcast. Bench AR, play the backup. My guy came through. He showed why he has that higher ceiling. The numbers proved it. His performance proved it. I don't know what he was going through, really that's his business, personal business, whatever. He's injured, that's the team business, whatever it is. The guy came, he performed, he gave us a chance to win. As bad as our running game was, we don't win this game without AR. You missed that throw to Zipper on that touchdown. It's only a couple of guys in the NFL that can make that throw. Maybe Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers can make that type of throw.
Better say the other one.
Oh,
what am I missing? man, bye. Anyway, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, to be able to put the zip, like you said, the way the velocity he had on that ball, he said too. The velocity he had on that ball, only like 3 or 4 guys in the NFL can even make that throw. So for him to solidify what I was saying, give the guy time. He hadn't started. This is what his 5th game ever starting. Like Mike said earlier when we were talking about it, he had a lot of mop-up duty. This is time for him to learn. We're not trying to win the SEC championship or a national championship this year. This is about learning your guys, seeing what they have, and when we get more of your own guys in, especially on defense, we'll see what we have to make it in. Then you got an AR going into year 2 in this system. Whew, look out.
Mike, silver lining for you.
I would say you got some young guys like McClellan and Moore. They're truly starting to show that they belong. Playing in an environment in a team like this. That they were number 11 in the country. So they are Tennessee, and we see them as inferior because they are, as terms of a team and humans. So but no, in terms of those young players, they are definitely that was one of them. Another one, like I won't say AR, but it's obvious. But my favorite, I'm just glad the receivers, people are saying they don't suck. Like they're like I've always said, are they great? No.
Superior route running in this game.
Good point, Mike. Speak on it. Good point.
Yeah, no. And just because you're not great doesn't mean you're bad. It's not. And society's like this. If you're not bad, if it's either you're good or you're bad. No, I've always said they are slightly above average. And it is what it is. They're not going to be drafted in the first rounds, but like they're very quality players. So I'm glad that Shorter, especially, is starting to truly find himself and hope. Maybe possibly he's becoming his AR safety blanket. Yeah, we really need to start looking at that. So and the last thing I'd like to say, resolve. This team could have easily folded. It wasn't allowed. It was a tough environment. At the end of the day, it's Neyland Stadium. Even if it's crumbling down because it's old and crusty. It is what it is. But that's architectural flaws. So, but either way, it's 100. You're in front of over 100,000 people, and that team, they beat the spread, but 2, with the onside recovery, they never gave up, no matter how much they were down mentally, physically, or they just always showed that resolve to come back, and that says a lot about the team. There's some teams across the country who show the exact opposite. So so with that being said, record aside, I don't need undefeated. I just need direction, and we have the foundation for long-term success.
You kind of stole a little of my thunder there. Resolve was definitely going to be one of my silver linings, and that goes back to what I said earlier. This team had some horrific lows at the end of last season, and with the exception, obviously, of the freshmen, all these kids were here for that. So they easily could have said, "Oh, we've been here before," and just packed it in, but they did not. They played hard to the very end, and I give them much credit for that, and I keep a lot of credit on the staff for changing the mindset of the team like they have to keep fighting. It's just still game 4. A lot of that stuff is still fresh. It doesn't just that kind of stuff usually takes a season or so to kind of wash away, to get that stink out of the program, so to speak, where, and we still have some of it. When I talked about bad habits earlier, that's kind of the stink I'm talking about. A lot of the bad habits, bad tackling habits, things like that we're still seeing. But that stuff's going to improve. I mean, it's going to take time, but it's slowly but surely you're seeing that improve. And that goes to my main silver lining, and we said it earlier, is competent football and improvement. And they played pretty competent football. Obviously, we know we had some busted assignments and things like that, but we don't know what Mike says this all the time. If you don't know what the play calls were, you really can't speak on to whose fault something was. So you can't just be quick to blame. Everyone thought that Zero was responsible for both long plays, but after breakdowns came out today, it became pretty evident that the second one was not his fault because of the play call. And that's why in the moment you have a knee-jerk reaction that, oh, it was him again. But you don't know. You just don't until because A, you weren't on the sideline, you weren't on the field, and you didn't have a headset on. So you don't exactly always know. But there is competent football being played, whether your opinion is it's not. It is. Yesterday, especially on offense, showed that the play calling was competent. The receivers played very competent. AR played competent and was the fumble hurt, yes, but he was careful with the football for the most part, except for that play. He got hit and lost the ball. And no one's going to take that harder than he is. But guess what? Unlike the previous games where he had a turnover and completely collapsed, he elevated himself. And to me, that is a tremendous show of improvement. Hopefully we'll continue to see some improvement on the other side of the ball as well. And that's gonna take us into our last portion here, guys. What's next and what's your expectation going forward? Has it changed any? Wes, let's start with you.
Well, mine has changed. I kind of had us
undefeated.
Undefeated to two losses. We already got the 2 losses, but
a little impossible now. But
yeah, I had us
not for the rest of the season. Ricky,
we'll give you a redo. Do you still want?
Nah, I mean, I still feel like, to you guys' point and to my point, except for one thing, but I don't even know about. I still feel like we can win every ball game from here on out. And that includes Georgia. If you saw what Georgia's Mike, me and you've talked off air about Georgia and what they brought back and what if some changes happen defensively, and if AR is still AR, why not?
We better learn how to cover a tight
Who's
end.
going to block Jalen Carter? No, because it's not our O-line. That's a top 5 pick.
And we better learn how to cover a tight end.
That is a top 5 unanimous pick. He's the best defensive talent. Pardon?
It could be a shootout. It absolutely could be a shootout. But I don't want to go toe-to-toe with them for 4 quarters and hope that,
I know. I'm just asking Mike, was he blocked against Kent State this weekend? Was he blocked against Kent State this weekend?
Georgia had a USF game versus Kent State. I actually watched that game. They played tremendously down to their opponent. But that's here nor there. They're going to be up to play Florida. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. Might be a shootout. So I mean, to answer the question, it doesn't. It kind of changed as far as I still feel like every game is a coin flip here on out. Texas A&M was still, to me, they have a good defense, but offensively, I don't know why defense might make anybody look good. So it's still coin flip here on out, and and I'll put my faith in AR. I haven't left them yet, so why leave them now?
Mike?
Not at all. I mean, in terms of AR, possibly it can get back to where the projection was. However, it has to be sustainable before I'm hopping fully on board. Once again, I'm not just blindly running into a wall here. So I said 6 to 10 wins. And still 6 to 10 wins, there will be coin flip games. So I mean, it is what it is. So we're probably gonna finish. I split it at 6 to 10, so I picked 8. It'll probably be 7, but I mean, I'm okay with it because we're playing competent football. So no, I'm fine.
My expectation is slightly up over last after, a week from what I saw versus USF. But my expectation was extremely low after USF. So, I mean, after the USF game, I seriously sat there and thought, this could be a 6-win football team. And now I can go back to thinking, 8-4 is very possible. But it's like Mike said, there's going to be some coin flip. LSU, Texas A&M, those are coin flips right now without even, seeing what happens. South Carolina can still very much be a coin flip. It shouldn't be.
Mm-mm.
It shouldn't be if we continue on our path and they continue on theirs. It shouldn't be. But we have to see what next week brings now. Then that's going to be the thing with this team is the week to week. We thought you come out of the gates versus Utah, you think you're world beaters, then you come back to earth, and then you crash into earth even though you win versus South Florida. A team that got absolutely skunked by Louisville this weekend. And I know that's not that's not always a transitive property, but don't tell me Louisville is more talented than us. They may be at a couple of positions, but as a whole, but they're also not in the first year system. So,
and another thing that definitely help us with A&M, well, a couple of things. We've proven we can go on the road in a hostile environment.
That's absolutely true.
It's not a problem at all. And also, they just lost their star receiver, most likely for the season, Aeneas Smith.
And let them lose another game too, and then things could get nasty out there before we get there. I know there's already some people are starting to rumble and grumble after all the recruits they signed and Jimbo kind of not coming out of the gate, fire on all cylinders, but and it's still Max Johnson. I don't,
He's their best quarterback. But
he is their best quarterback.
He kills us though.
Yeah, well, he killed. Yeah, but that's because your previous staff was completely incapable and took that game for granted.
He's like killing mom.
I mean, guys, it was a loss. You can't say it any other way. It was a loss. But there was a lot of positive that came from a loss. And that's at least, like we said, there are silver linings. You went on the road. You played competent football. You held into the very last play. You didn't fold. You didn't pack it in when you could have when you were down 2 scores. Your quarterback came back from the brink, basically, of looking like he had nothing to give. Your receivers that have been hounded showed up in a big way. They're putting it together in a lot of ways. You just got to continue to see the growth in the competent football. And, at least we're moving in the right direction. Mike, you got anything you want to add before we jump out?
Yeah, 2 things. If pure hypothetical, with nobody running away with the Heisman race, literally nobody. If AR sustains his production from Tennessee, is he a Heisman front? Is he in the Heisman race?
He could be right now. And I'm not saying there's not a front runner, but CJ Stroud is pretty high up there right now.
He has to beat Georgia and Texas A&M to do that.
I think, or at least I don't.
Okay. What about a New York invite?
He'd have to continue. He'd have to have 3 or 4 more games like he had yesterday, in the ballpark.
No,
I'm not saying he has to throw for 450 yards. Sorry, Wes. You don't have to throw 450 yards. You're not going to do that every game, but you're going to have some 3-4 touchdown games.
For sure.
Because people forget Tebow won it with 3 losses that year. Where he won it, it wasn't the year we lost.
Well, one of them was the bowl game though. That came after.
It was in Michigan.
Yeah. But what I was saying is, it wasn't the year we won. We won like 11-1. It wasn't those years.
He put up ungodly numbers that year too. Yeah, I don't think AR is going to sniff that either because he's already behind the 8 ball.
And he has to cut down on the INTs. I think he has like 5 already. So you got to stay there. You can't go to 8. 8 is your max.
I just wanted to put it out there. That's all.
I think it's 100% possible if he continues the trajectory of this game, going
Correct.
forward. It's possible, but right
Yeah.
now, I mean, obviously, you can already name 2 guys that'll probably be there. I mean, Bryce, regardless, will probably be there. He's the defending, and he's going to have a good enough.
Possibly Will Anderson.
CJ Stroud, I don't see a way if he continues like he is that he's not going to be there.
Correct.
And if Caleb, he keeps and I hate to say this out loud, but if he keeps putting up the numbers, Stetson might be there.
And Caleb Williams out there in Southern Cal too.
We had to see them beat Utah this week, but
yeah,
they didn't look as great this week.
Utah's
that's another conversation for another day.
That's a whole nother conversation.
I just wanted to literally just touch on it.
Utah's tight end is out for the year. That Utah's tight end is out for the year.
Oh, man. I hate to hear that. That kid was good.
Why you say good?
I said that. I hate that. I said the kid
I didn't
is
say
good.
anything. Hey, anyway, either way, Bateman got us.
Bateman got us. Wes, anything you want to add before we jump?
No, I'm good. We all good. See you guys on Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Guys, we appreciate y'all hanging with us and being patient with us while we get this episode out. Like we said, sorry for the delay on that. It's just one of those things that just kind of life happened. And Mike was so deep in the trenches, we had to send some guys to get him out. Took a while to get him back home. Mike was home before Brittany Griner.
Jeez.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I'm more light, so I played a real sport.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Anyway.
You better get me off here before I get canceled.
Yeah, Mike's about to get canceled. Guys, we appreciate you so much, though, as always. Make sure you go check us out. You can download us wherever you get your podcasts. We're available on all major platforms. Please make sure you check out the YouTube channel and give us a subscribe. It helps us tremendously with the growth of our channel. And if you'd like to support us as creators, always go visit our Patreon. Respect our decision. We'll be announcing a giveaway later this week for that. So as always, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you Wednesday. Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.